Hello there, you have reached Zach Baby TV once again for another updated review and talk about what if the Masked Mutant was real. What if this story was real? Think about it. Skipper could have said anything in that room with the Masked Mutant, and because he went through the beam of light, changing his molecules and his whole body in the tiny dots of ink, he could have been anything, but he chose the Colossal Elastic Boy. He could have been Lightning Boy. He could have been Captain Flatulent. He could have been anything he wanted, but he picked the Colossal Elastic Boy. And I think that's pretty cool because in the TV episode, that brown package, was not a Masked Mutant comic book. It was his comic book because he destroyed the Masked Mutant, said he was the Colossal Elastic Boy, and because he did that, and he was now officially a comic book character because his DNA was changed, he became a superhero and started his own comic book, which was not in here, but I loved how they did that at the end of the twist for this. There was a lot of things I didn't like that they did with the book, but hey, would be pretty sweet, right? Who wouldn't want a secret headquarters, a big building with funky colors, and I mean, who wouldn't want to have superpowers, right? To be, whether you're a Cape person or not, wouldn't it be sweet to be a superhero, being out there and actually helping people? I mean, you could do that now. You could go dress up and have some friends and go really make a difference in your community, but to have superpowers, to actually be able to have power of the mind or wind or strength or fire or ice, I mean, it's awesome. I think it's pretty awesome. If this was real, and think about it, it might be. Technology is always coming up with new stuff. Science is always improving. It's just a matter of time. I think so. It's a matter of time before this might one day become reality. And I'm hoping to live through it. That would be sweet. That would be awesome. I can't get enough of this. I want everything that has to do with the Masked Mutant. Just like Goosebumps #1 Aussie fan was Slappy. Slappy, that's his boy. This is my boy. So. And yes, I got your review about that. How you found 2 of these. I think that's pretty cool, Aussie. That's awesome. And I got 1. If I get another one, I'll let you know. But I got 1, so I'm happy I at least got 1. Almost tempted not to read it just because of knowing how rare and the value of it. I'm almost tempted not to read it, to be honest with you. But yeah, I mean, if that stuff was real, I mean, take it if any of the books were real, but particularly this video was meant for the Masked Mutant. You could always tell me your thoughts and opinions on it, but just think about it. If you went through this, what would be different? What would be the same? You know what I mean? Would you have went through the invisibility curtain and went in there? Of course you would. You wouldn't just forget about it and stop collecting and reading comic books of this guy. No, you would go in there. Your body and molecules would change in the tiny dots of ink, and you would go through the same crap. Now, I wish they would have made a sequel of this because, A, I didn't like how the Galloping Gazelle left Skipper Matthews there. Maybe he was under the impression that Skipper Matthews had, ridiculous powers, But he even told him, I don't have any powers. I took the 14 Buster Franklin, He even tried to explain to him he couldn't even jump past the 3rd step. I mean, he was obviously out of shape. He couldn't jump past the 3rd step because he couldn't have wall climbing abilities. He didn't have anything. So to leave him there was stupid. Could have did something different with the writing, as far as writing the book. But at the same time, I think they could have led into a sequel. I really wish they would have made part 2 of this because, they made sequels for Slappy. They made Monster Bloods, and I don't really think the Monster Blood books were really any good. But I mean, this was good. I mean, they made the book. They made a video game for it. I mean, it must be a really popular book if you're going to make a CD for it, a CD-ROM game. You know what I mean? Which brings me, why didn't they do more with the Haunted Mask? Because the Haunted Mask was big. I mean, it's still one of the main top 5 for most people that read or collect Goosebumps. Is The Haunted Mask is in their top 5. That should have been a video game or a board game or something. You know what I mean? In my opinion, they should have did more with that. They should have did more with this. But they did quite a bit with this. So I'm cool with it. I'm looking for the collectible of the Masked Mutant, because they had 6 collectibles. They had Curly and the Mummy, and it had the hamster from Monster Blood, and it had God, it's like 6 of them. But they made another 6, and this guy is on it, and I have to have it. I will find it in the box one day, one year. I will have it. I will find it. If you have it, give it to me. I'll buy it off you. If you know where to find it, let me know, and I'll buy it. I have to have it. Now, to get off the subject of real-life supervillain and superheroism, on Fox Kids, they had Spider-Man and they had X-Men and Goosebumps. But how many of you remember a little competition of Erie, Indiana? I got season 1 of that. This was pretty cool. This was a cool show. I liked it. It only lasted for 1 season because Goosebumps was just thriving. Goosebumps was everywhere. Costco. All the book section was just straight Goosebumps in Costco. Everywhere. Bookstores, privately owned small, little bookshops. Goosebumps was everywhere. Birthday parties, clothing. No matter where you went, commercials on TV. Goosebumps was big until about 98, 99. It was monstrous. These guys tried. And you know who else tried? I'll tell you. There was another series out, which is on Netflix right now, called Spooksville. Which is, it's the same cast for all of their stories in a crazy town where a lot of weird stuff happens. Spooksville was actually very cool. There's a whole series of this stuff out. If you don't know about Spooksville, you could look it up, but it ain't nothing to Goosebumps, though. But it was good, but it didn't have the marketing and the advertisements that Goosebumps had. Same with Erie, Indiana. They didn't have that push. Also, same thing with Are You Afraid of the Dark? Now, I loved Are You Afraid of the Dark. I used to watch it Nick at Night all the time. When I was younger, though, I never knew when this stuff was on. The only thing I knew about was Goosebumps Saturday mornings on Fox TV, on the channel Fox. So I knew when Goosebumps was on, and I watched it religiously. And Are You Afraid of the Dark was awesome. Same thing, American company, Canadian acted, just like Goosebumps. A lot of the characters flip-flopped between Goosebumps and Are You Afraid of the Dark. I saw a lot of the same cast for both shows, and I think it was pretty. Even the girl from the movie Scream was in it. She was in Are You Afraid of the Dark. Quite a few. Are You Afraid of the Dark was spooky, though. I will admit, there was a lot of Are You Afraid of the Darks was a lot more spooky than Goosebumps. And they were really, really good, but they didn't market it like Goosebumps does. It just never got that large. I know they made a board game and they had DVDs and probably some T-shirts, but they never it never got to the level that Goosebumps was on, and that's why Goosebumps overpowered everything else in its time. But hey, still a lot of great memories, a lot of great stuff, and so that kind of concludes it. I just wanted to talk about everything a little bit, especially with the Masked Mutant. I think that being a reality would be pretty sweet. I really wish they would have made more books based off that story, a sequel, maybe even a part 3. I think there could have been so much more done for that. It really could have taken off into a whole nother direction. It would have been really awesome. So I'm going to end it here for now. Go ahead and share your thoughts and opinions. And I'm going to go ahead and shout out my top 3, right? Attack of the Mutant, Welcome to Camp Nightmare, and probably Deep Trouble. Those are probably my top 3. Everybody, is voiced to their own opinion. But those are the top 3 that I was really, really into. I love a lot of the other books. Calling All Creeps, The Werewolf of Fever Swamp. Terror Tower is definitely in my top 10. Love A Night in Terror Tower. There's too many to name, to be honest with you. So, but those are my top 3. I also have the audiobooks for The Masked Mutant, which I also uploaded on my page. Deep Trouble at the audio for that, and Welcome to Cat Nightmare. You can find all those audio tapes on YouTube. And Welcome to Cat Nightmare really related to me just as much as the Attack of the Mutant did, because I went to summer camps when I was younger, and Julian in California was called Camp Marston. Had the camp counselors, camping, the fire, everybody circles around the campfire and tells ghost stories, and hiking, wall climbing, archery, and they always said you can't go to the girls' side, right? I mean, just like Welcome to Camp Nightmare, it was like a lot of the same stuff, because R.L. Stine must have went to camp because he knows what he's talking about. But I never witnessed the Forbidden Bunk, so that would have been sweet though. But I did go to Universal Studios when I was a kid, and they had a Goosebumps show there. And as you can see here, that's me and my cousin. That's actually a green screen. They had a whole show there, and they had about 4 of these choices as far as for the picture, and this was the one I picked. If the Masked Mutant was there, I would have picked that one first, but that wasn't one of the choices. But I still have this. This is old. This is probably 95, 96. But I still have that. So, yeah, that pretty much concludes it. Goosebumps for life, huh?